I'm Kento Bento.
This video is made possible by me. Get your brand new illustrated Kento Bento sticker sets or any other merch and get a month of Nebula for free. Alright, the last follow-up video I did, people seemed to like it. So, hey, you're getting another. Of course, if you've clicked on this, I assume you've already watched the bizarre South Korean bank heist video. If not, go check it out first. So, as usual, many of you had some lingering questions that needed answering, like, why didn't Jung just commit an easier crime? What was up with that weird-ass stabbing scene? What was on the TV screen in the background? Why that mug? Why was the female bank customer so thick? What happened to Jung after being released from the police station? Why did you go with this particular incident? It doesn't feel like a story you would normally choose. What's the next Kento Bento video going to be about? And on a personal note, where were you the past 9 months? Did North Korea abduct you? Did you get pregnant? Did you get the Rona? Well, that's a lot of questions and we don't have much time. So let's jump right in. No, actually, I gotta do this first. Hold this, Nina. Bam, million subscribers. Oh, Nina's a bit shy. Actually, this happened back in March, but I wasn't making videos then, so I'm saying it now. Thank you, all of you, even the haters. Maybe not all the haters, for being a Kento Bento fan, and for supporting us even though I take 10 years to put out a video. I'm working on that. Anyway, so the first question, and quite a common one, why didn't Jung just commit an easier crime? And on that note, why not a more severe crime as well, to really cement his chances of imprisonment? Some of you lovely folks suggested he commit arson, kidnap a child, attack the offices with a real knife. Jesus, guys. No, as I said in the video, well, unfortunately, Jung wasn't too bright. Despite what may have seemed at the start, Jung wasn't a genius. He was no mastermind. In the end, it turned out he was just a desperate man with extremely questionable logic. There were likely other avenues he could have taken. And despite my attempt at sarcasm to convey this, and so with unwavering determination, he set his genius plan into motion. The heist was on. Wow. Well, that was unique. The officer couldn't believe it, the sheer absurdity. I guess it didn't get through to all. But the other implication throughout the video was that the man didn't want to hurt anyone or cause too much trouble. Look at the note. He was just too darn polite. Why? Did he learn it from Mummy? Perhaps. Sure, he could have done any number of horrible things to ensure his residency in cell block B. But he likely didn't have it in him. As mentioned, he's certainly not a criminal. He was raised better than that. Oh, and kudos to the one person who noticed that connection. For those wondering, what's with the 112 written on the note? That's just the phone number for the South Korean police. Also, above the note on Jung's desk, you can see a folder that's labeled in Korean. Translating this, you get bank heist number 4, a reference to this video being the 4th bank heist we've covered on this channel. By the way, quick plug, all those previous scenes you saw of criminal acts, the beatdown, the fire, the kidnapping, the bloody knife, were all from the shocking Chinese pork bun murders, my Nebula original. Quite the terrifying video, or as this Reddit user put it, fantastic episode, but what the absolute f***. So yeah, watch it at your own peril. Now from real knife to fake knife. Question 2. What was up with that weird ass stabbing scene? Which scene? This scene. You see, the knife wasn't real. It was fake. I think most assumed it was meant as a bit of comic relief, albeit quite elaborate. And yeah, it was, but it was also something else. A reference to a particular scene in Knives Out, one of my favorite movies in recent times, starring Chris Evans, about a mysterious crime that culminates too in a fake knife reveal. Quickly, here's the original stabbing scene from the movie, spoiler in 5. Shit. Again, hats off to those who picked up on that reference, but there's more. Question 3. What was on the TV screen in the background? This was right near the beginning of the video, as he was in his room planning the so-called heist. Something was playing in the distant background, and if you can't tell, I'll make it clearer. Let's remove the static a bit, and hey, it's Knives Out. Foreshadowing. And similarly for the next question, why that mug? In 2 separate scenes, you see a very particular design on Jung's mug, on his desk next to the blueprint, and when he was fired by his boss. And wouldn't you know it, my house, my rules, my coffee, it's the same memorable mug that was in Knives Out, but with one notable difference. Jung lives with Mummy, it's Mom's house. Respect. Gosh, it's even there in the thumbnail subtext, Knives Out, which, well, makes sense either way. Longtime subscribers are probably aware I like to do this from time to time, like in the greatest bank heist in Chinese history video, which, and speaking of Chris Evans, I released the same month that Avengers Endgame came out, where I figured why not fill out the video with Endgame references, or Easter eggs if you will. And in the How North Korea Held the Greatest Pro Wrestling Event in History video, there was an insane amount of pro wrestling references I put in there, some obvious, many obscure. And while we're at it, let's keep this reference train rolling. Where else have you heard of a man robbing a bank only to get caught on purpose because he desperately wanted to go to prison? But one thing's for sure, Jung ain't no Michael Scofield. But then, Michael Scofield ain't no Yoshie Shiratori. Actually, speaking of, I know many of you found my channel through the incredible Japanese Prison Break video, but it's still amusing that some of you refer to me as the miso soup man. I love miso soup, I ain't complaining. Jung's descent has also been likened to Parasite by a few of you, an Academy Award-winning South Korean black comedy thriller in which desperation and poverty too leads the principal character or characters to make some very questionable and unlawful decisions, breaking bad to obtain something they can't afford. Speaking of, which is actually another show that came up, though to steal Thomas's line here, Breaking Back. Okay, enough about the Easter eggs, Kento, why don't you tell us about the artwork? Right, I want the serious, hard-hitting questions now, so throw them at me. Question 5, why was that female bank customer so thick? I don't know. Well, whatever the case, I may not be the best person to answer why that female bank customer was so thick. You see, our illustration team consists of 2 people. That would be myself, I'm the art director, and I plan out the storyboards, but there's also my man Charlie, who does the actual line art and color. If you like the specific art style of the characters, whether the customer, the teller, or even Jung himself, that's Charlie's domain. So let's ask him, let's get some deep character insight here. Charlie, why was the female bank customer so thick?
Why not?
Thank you for your insight. So Charlie and I work hard to ensure the illustrations are up to standard, and honestly, we probably spend way too much time on perfecting things that nobody even notices, be it random movie references, making the characters look not just Asian but Korean, ensuring the seamless transition between 2 eventual transmutable scenes, including this trusty vendor scene, making mommy do this for no reason at all other than lols. But even Hans Mollman over here, the janitor, not at all being fazed by the knife-wielding protagonist. Oh, and of course, ensuring Jung's illustrations adequately foreshadowed the eventual reveal of his back pain woes. Because the longer it took for the police to arrive and for him to be arrested, the likelier things could have gone sideways. Tensions were mounting. And tensions were mounting indeed. Which brings me to the very real and unfortunate fact that there are many watching now who I'm sure empathize with Jung's plight. Back pain is no joke. And actually, detour. Last year, after a lifetime of back problems, and with the pain getting progressively worse, I found out from my orthopedic doctor that my spinal discs were, well, completely screwed. In particular, my 5th lumbar disc was destroyed, basically gone, and probably had been since I was a child, actually due to an accident I vividly remember looking something like this. At the time, I really had no idea of the eventual ramifications. So fast forward, after tolerating the discomfort for decades, I finally get my diagnosis last year, and I'm told my outlook, unsurprisingly, isn't great, especially considering what I do for a living. The number of hours I spend sitting on my ass ain't doing me any favors. So cautionary tale, kids, don't be reckless, protect that ass. What? Or you may end up like your boy Bento. Or worse, robbing a bank for the worst reasons imaginable. Jung, I feel you, brother. Oh, and this isn't the main health issue that took me out for the last 9 months. I wish it was just this. Actually, you know what? Let's get this question out of the way while we're at it. Move it up to Q. The main thing that forced my absence was a more severe health issue that I don't really want to get too much into. It's a thing that's still happening. Some of you may have heard on Twitter or on Patreon. I know people have been asking about it, and many have been upset with me for not addressing it. Suffice to say, I'm still trying to figure it all out, and I'm working on getting better. For those who left kind and welcoming comments upon my return despite not knowing why I left, I really appreciate you guys. And oh, don't worry, I will not stop making videos on YouTube. I enjoy it too much. So anyway, you guys had some wild ideas about where I've been. Let's run through the gamut, shall we? China kidnapped me. North Korea kidnapped me. I was arrested in the Hong Kong protests. I was escaping Abba shitty prison. It was 9 months, so I must have been pregos. An original one here, I finally remembered my password. Thanks, Dashlane. And of course, well, the Rona got him. He did. Speaking of the Rona though, let's get back on track with what happened to Jung after being released from the police station. For Jung, 2019 was a crappy year indeed, but little did he know he'd go from one unlucky 19 to another. So the story ended with a gut punch, a COVID gut punch, and while that sucks, it turned out there was actually one person looking out for Jung. And no, I don't mean his mom, although I'm sure his pajama top is still being thoroughly buttoned to this day. I'm talking about the officer who made the arrest, the officer who interrogated him. You see, After realizing Mr. Zhong wasn't too bright, he took pity on the poor fella, and with some prodding soon found out that Zhong was simply unaware of certain governmental relief programs, and so the officer assisted in connecting him to the appropriate welfare center. I don't know if his case ended up being approved if he was deemed eligible for support, but all this is to say, committing a fake bank heist only to get into prison was unsurprisingly not his only option. Now the second to last question here, one that was talked about quite a bit in the comment section. Why did you go with this particular incident? It doesn't feel like a story you would normally choose. And you're right. This was a slightly different kind of story told in a slightly different way. I wanted to experiment in this video, but not too much. It was still very much a KB style video, but it was a bit more nuanced, grounded, and not going a million miles per hour as you may have come to expect from me. And yes, weird or odd situations surrounding healthcare is certainly more prevalent in the US, I hear ya, but it's less so in the rest of the world, like Asia, which is partly what drew me to this story. But not just that, with all that's happened in 2020, I wanted to return to YouTube with a video, a story video that felt somehow relevant in our current time. Something to do with, say, the pandemic, healthcare, people's current economic plight, but still obviously on brand, something Asian-y, something, well, bank heisty. And with my absence likely to be fresh on people's minds, bonus if I can relate it to my personal situation, my recent struggles. And wouldn't you know, I found one that brought everything together in an interesting way, or at least I tried to, while at the same time, upping our illustration game. Charlie, hope we did good there.
Why not?
Now, as mentioned at the start, not only have we, yes, consolidated all this into a brand new, extensive, beautiful illustrated sticker set, the bizarre South Korean bank heist sticker set, but we've also made one for our most popular video ever, the incredible Japanese prison break, highlighting the story of Yoshie Shiratori's legendary escapes. And of course, my Nebula original show, the shocking Chinese pork bun murders, which I've strategically censored here because I do not want to spoil the story, the bizarre and terrifying twists and turns for those who haven't seen it. The full sticker set is revealed at the end of the Nebula original though. Speaking of, every Kento Bento purchase, whether a sticker, a mug, a shirt, comes with an automatic free month of Nebula. That's right, free month of Nebula. Even if you already have Nebula, we just add a month on top of that. So you can watch, of course, the shocking Chinese pork bun murders, but also other great original shows from the likes of Real Engineering, Tom Scott, and Wendover Productions. And just to be clear, this counts for all Kento Bento merch, including our fancy Kento Bento pins, Kento Bento mugs, Kento Bento stickers, and Kento Bento shirts, with Kento Bento written in Japanese on the back. Kento Bento has never said Kento Bento that many times in a single sentence. Kento Bento also wants to clarify that the collectible sticker sets are all available separately, so you can just pick and choose the set from your favorite Kento Bento video, or videos. I hope to do this for each new video in the future, like an ongoing collectibles thing, and a lot of that depends on the success of this pre-sale. So if you're a fan of our stories, our illustrations, and want to bring a piece of it home, and you want to help support us, go to standard.tv/KentoBento, link is in the description, and get your favorite Kento Bento merch. You'll receive a confirmation email for Nebula shortly after purchase. Okay, I know there are only 3 people left, but it's not the end of the video. The final question: what's the next Kento Bento video going to be about? Now, this is always tricky to answer because plans can always change, so disclaimer here. I won't reveal much now, but I will say it's on a topic I've never done before. So no bank heists, no prison breaks, no grisly murders. This time around, it'll be about a hijacking, an airplane hijacking, and it ends up in a pretty strange and unexpected location. Anyway, that's it. It's the end. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out our merch, and I'll see you again in the next Asian-y video.